The finally paid DLC for Battlefield 1 has arrived, with the first expansion being an astounding success. What awaits us in the second pack? Hello everyone, Chris back again with you in Gaming Zone, and today marks the 4th DLC review for Battlefield 1. Our guest in the name of the Tsar. The French DLC was the first major content brought for the game, and it really changed up everything about the gameplay for me. The maps had cool themes and really awesome visuals, and I think this one is the best DLC out there among the Frostbite games after Battlefield 3. But what the second Russian DLC had to offer us in the journey ahead? Let's find out right now. Like previous mentioned French team, I can't tell that much about this country's story and what happened during World War I, but this empire kicked the enemies out of trench lines in the Eastern Front, alongside Romania. Our meme lords that became Soviets after the war are looking very good in the game. And also the inclusion of Cossacks and horse spearmen is quite the fun. And thank you guys for fixing that atrocious Russian speak we saw in Battlefield 3 and 4. May God have mercy on those Russians. Those were the worst voiceovers I heard in such a language. Surprise! Here's the second team for the DLC, Red Army, or as usually people call them, Soviet Union. This team features completely new soldiers and fight only during the Civil War maps, such as Tsaritsyn and Volga River. They look good, but sadly have nothing fancy to show us other than their skins. Supply drop game mode is garbage and was easily forgotten by everyone. I played this one and I forgot how the experience really was. After the release of this DLC, the following game modes fell in quality and interesting ideas shortly, coming with a revival of previous seen games features. Maps have a more winter-themed battle compared to others. Every map featured in this DLC has snow. Starting from Lubko Pass and finishing with Tsaritsyn, the fights take place during snowstorms, overcasts and fog. Depends on the situation, as dynamic weather chooses it. It also hosts the most maps ever seen in a DLC release in Frostbite games. 6 maps have been introduced to the game, but sadly the way they got split during the release was quite weird and let down some people, including myself. Let's start with the first map that released in August 2017. Lubkov Pass is set of course in Poland, as the name suggests, and the setting is around a big valley featuring mountains and also a long train railway leading to a tunnel. This map has only ground and air combat, and basically air farmers are really welcome here, because there are few to no anti-air guns seen on the ground. The theme of using machine guns as anti-air is affecting the people, and usually leads to a huge farming of kills for pilots, and there is no counter for them. The latest addition of AA rocket gun for assault class makes no big difference, least favorite of mine. Albion is where the fun time begins. Set in the coastal side of Estonia, this map is the first naval concentrated map since a long time. Turning Tide's Cape Hells is being shamed by this location, and really shows how weak that garbage called a map is. There are stationary cannons on the coast waiting for ships and enemy infantry to pop up on the horizon. But really the map is bad at infantry firefights. Usually people are forced to join forces with a plane, boat and dreadnought to pack quite the punch against threats. Not the best, not the worst. Also contains an Easter egg that awards you a special skin of Browning MG. Galicia is one of the worst maps released for Battlefield 1. I really despise playing on these large fields, and even in map votes it gets rejected almost all the times because of such features. Set in former Kingdom of Galicia, this map features open fields and villages with a long distance between them. It's separated by a river and has a derailed train near the sea flag. A disappointment and lost potential. Really has few people running around in this garbage, other than operations. And the final map set during World War I setting, Brusilov Keep. The location is also set in Galician territory, and features 4 control points, making the point progression even for both teams, reaching a so-called stalemate state. Really beautiful and balanced map, but in operations is prone to severe camping, and that is affecting the experience quite a bit. The Easter egg of the map is Battlefield Friends Conversation. Now we enter the Russian Civil War Ark. Yes, that's how I like to call this part of the DLC. Set during the revolution, of course, Tsaritsyn feels like an Operation Metro made even smaller, but with 2 openings. There is a lot of camping inside the cathedral, and is prone to severe Michael Bay explosion fests during operations and conquest. Also features Villain Panosa and all that elite kit stuff. And trust me, if one of those enter inside that cathedral, it's going to be a really, quotes, fun experience. If you enjoy all that stuff and want some nostalgia from older titles, you are welcome to this map. Volga River is set before the events of Tsaritsyn, of course, as the revolution starts and progresses towards the city of Tsar, translation for previous map's name. This map has quite the control points and focuses solely on horses, tanks and infantry combat, compared to World War I setting maps. It's set near the Volga River, as the name suggests, where the before mentioned city is spotted in the distance if you pay a closer look. The Easter egg yet again is shot between battlefield friends. The legendary double barrel makes an awesome entrance with this DLC. It is the full version of Sawed Off seen in the base game, and packs quite the punch at close distances. It also allows you to fire both of those shells at the same time, making an even more powerful punch. Don't go aboard however, as at medium and longer distances it's basically useless, unless you use the slug version. At the release, having a decent fire rate and recoil pattern, featuring 80 bullets in the magazine, this was a mediocre SMG to use against enemies at medium ranges. But with the latest update buffing the hell out of this swing, it's basically impossible to find Automatico ever again in servers, other than assignment missions. Have you found that tryhard with 100 stars on it yet? Oh man, I think DICE really did a huge mistake with upgrading this time around. Fedorov Automat, or how Russians say it, Automat Fedorova, is the first weapon in Battlefield 1 to feel like an assault rifle nearby Ribeirol. Featuring 25 bullet magazine and having good recoil, this weapon is my choice for the Medic class. With Battlefield 5 pre-order, players received yet another version of this rifle. Don't forget to control the recoil, because the random deviation affects quite a lot this gun, so tap firing may help you in the longer distances. Typical DMR found in Medic class, and during the release time of the DLC was just a mediocre weapon dismissed by everyone. It was basically a reskin of Serb's Ladder 1906, but featuring 6 bullets. With the release of the latest patches, the different style of firing has been introduced, turning it into a sniper rifle. Quite the interesting specimen seen in the game, but still hasn't gathered any attention from public. This is the sad story of a Chinese rifle. The best machine gun of Battlefield 1 has finally reached my review. Being really hard at unlocking, especially the planes mission before TTK 2.0, was quite the weapon at the time, featuring high fire rate for support class. Even today is the weapon of choice for many players, including myself. Great addition to the class that changed the boredom seen in those slow firing MGs, coming near Fatat ranks. But man, the reload takes ages if you have less than 50 bullets in the mag. A slow fire rate machine gun that has quite the interesting reload sequence for it. Very effective at longer distances before the release of its nemesis in the next DLC, but at the time it was quite effective against mid to long range targets. With TTK 2.0 the weapon has fallen from grace and now is rarely seen on the fields in soldier hand, and is required for some assignments to unlock afflictions. Taking me a year to unlock, not joking, unlocked it recently as seen in my parody, is the Russian standard issue rifle coming to Battlefield 1. Although I haven't used it during the time, it proves to be quite the enemy for some rifles, especially Gewehr 98. Featuring an awesome animation during reloading, this feels quite interesting in hands, and that's basically it what I know about it. I'm sorry for not being useful this time around. The carbine that is used by no one. Like seriously, have you ever seen at least a server of normal maps using it besides the previous channel update? Yeah, it's quite the rarity. Featuring the same firepower and sweet spot as Martini Henry, the weapon is quite dangerous in right hands. The animations sadly lack the potential, especially when firing the optical version. The revolver that killed the Tsar has made an appearance in Battlefield 1. Really sucks with the reloading, as it takes ages to take out the used shell out of the chamber, but can take down at least 2 enemies at close range. The reloading time is the biggest drawback, and is the culprit of many deaths during the DLC release. Don't use it unless you want to try it out at least for once. And the Abrez. The cut sniper rifle that screws up everyone at close range. Nothing to say about it, just a powerful sidearm to destroy people, but requires the skill when in use, and just missing the spot for a bit can lead to some interesting outcomes if you understand me. The main star of my deaths in open maps and the most common air vehicle used for farming kills of infantry. I really despise how this garbage got rebalanced, and it can simply do a ghostly bombing raid without anyone actually noticing the bombs falling or spot at least a marker for something falling near you. At the release it was garbage, but after being buffed it became my nemesis that I hope I will never see again in next games. A weird armored vehicle that has controls reversed. Personally, I used it once in the battle on Brusilov Keep. Weird to drive and fire from it. Other than that, I can't say anything about it. Just a strange car with reverse controls and 3 places inside. The stationary thing you see in Albion map of this DLC. It's like the Fortress gun, but with different aiming controls. Can be easily destroyed by dreadnoughts and explosives, but in right hand it can screw up anyone you like. Basically an armored boat capable of destroying planes, boats and infantry. Nothing else, just a reskin of base game boats. In conclusion, this is the biggest content pack addition to the game, and contains quite the controversial weaponry and vehicles with weird balances. The teams feature only in winter maps, weapons are very interesting and change up the gameplay, vehicles that are either overpowered or some plain copy-pasta, and a game mode which was forgotten because it was trash. This was the second and final outstanding addition to Battlefield 1's Premium Pass service, before the sequential releases lacking the quality and content that was seen with the first 2 releases. This was it for today. Stay tuned for free content pack review, which covers Giant's Shadow, Nivelle Knights and Presetia Tayur maps, with the Weapon Crates pack and Shock Operations game mode. Until then, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this, click that bell stuff to receive notifications when I release videos on my channel, give me some opinions down below in the comments, I would like to hear your opinion down there. Thank you for watching this video, this was Chris, see you in the gaming zone.